The Houston Rockets are about to make a splash, and they might be able to get away with not even giving up a big-time player in return for Kevin Durant, a move that pushes them into legit NBA championship contention. This deal would be centered around the number 9 pick in this year's draft and then future draft capital that Phoenix wants back as they enter a retool. But really the only key rotation guy you might have to give up would be Fred VanVleet and his $45 million contract to match up salaries. And if we're talking Kevin Durant for Fred VanVleet, that's a steal and a half. I really don't care that the man's going to be 37 years old next year. It's Kevin Durant coming off a season where at 36 years old, he averaged 26.5 points, 6 rebounds, and 4.2 assists per game in 36 minutes a night. I mean, this is one of the greatest scorers of all time we're talking about. You're probably not even going to use that pick really at 10. The pick last year that was top 3 didn't even play this year in Reed Shepherd. 53% shooting from the field, 43% from 3 for Kevin Durant this year, and still, he's got maybe the most difficult shot selection in the league. I mean, he is 6'11" with that 7'5" wingspan, so he can shoot over pretty much anybody. And right here, he's going to drive right into 3 defenders, step it back, and still knock it down over the outstretched arms of Taurean Prince to get it to go. Now, I know these are highlights from his age 35 season, but he's still hooping. It still looks the same this year. There is no difference. Right here, pulling up off of a screen over 2 defenders in Chris Paul and Andrew Wiggins, and it simply does not matter. It's going in and 1 for Kevin Durant. Yeah, that's ridiculous right there. He gets some easy buckets still from time to time, getting down into the lane, but this is ridiculous, right? Facing up, jab step, rip through, getting to his spot, and knocking down a fadeaway jumper over 2 outstretched arms of the defenders, or 4 really if you're looking at both defenders there. Shot 53% from the field and 43% from 3. Ridiculous numbers on that type of shot selection, that shot diet. Now, looking at what the trade will look like, he's on a 1-year, $54 million deal. The financial situation for Houston right now is just fine. They're $36 million over the cap, but they have that team option on VanVleet, so they can go under if they need. They're still plus 4.6 on the first apron and still plus almost 17 million on the second apron, so they will still be financially free. And trading Fred VanVleet is not the end of the world. I don't think he's going to be your starting point guard on a championship team. I know he's won a ring before, but he was the backup behind Kyle Lowry. You have all kinds of picks. This doesn't even include the number 10 pick in this year's draft. You've got 3 in 2027, 3 in 2029, and in each of those years, 2 of those picks are Phoenix Suns picks. And looking at 10 overall, really, who are you going to take here that can help you out? Con Knippel might fall. If he does fall, then maybe you do take Con, pair him up with Reed Shepherd. There's likely no way he's still there at 10, though. So if you do trade this pick, Phoenix can look at somebody like Derek Queen, the big guard from Maryland. I think he's better like as a 4, but, you know, he's listed as a 5. He's 6'10", so he's a little bit maybe undersized at the NBA level. I guess 6'10" is good enough, though, to be playing that. He can protect the rim a little bit. Not the most athletic guy in the world. Jace Richardson, another guy that's a little bit undersized at 6'2". Another guy that I don't really see him playing a huge role for Houston next year. Phoenix, however, they could take him and he can play alongside Devin Booker from day 1 because he's probably going to be a point guard because he's only 6'2". Then you look at Jeremiah Fears out of Oklahoma, another guy that if he goes to Houston, I really don't see him playing from day 1 unless they move on from Fred VanVleet. But if he goes to Phoenix, he can play from day 1 alongside of Devin Booker and company out there at the 1. They've been needing a PG for quite some time now. Or you could take a flyer here on Yegor Demon. If you're Houston, I think you still consider this with the 10th overall pick. Although, if you can go get Kevin Durant, I feel like you have to go get Kevin Durant. Phoenix could definitely take a flyer here on Yegor because he's a guy that shot the cover off of it at the combine. He is a 6'9", 6'10" point guard that is excellent in the pick and roll. And like we said, he can also shoot the ball a little bit. Defensively, he'll have to work a little bit to get better. But if the Rockets are going to be able to swing this and still keep Jalen Green, that is going to be huge for this squad because he's going into his age 23 season. Last year at 22, he put up 21 points a game, 4.6 rebounds, 3.4 assists, 1 steal in 33 minutes a game. And Rockets fans are probably a little bit conflicted over Jalen Green, whether or not to keep him or not. 43% shooting from the field, 35% from 3 on 8 attempts per game. But, I mean, he's a guy that if you did keep him, he can still continue to develop because he's very young. If you did trade him, he's got a lot of value. He did increase his points per game a little bit from last year to this year, up about 1.5, but everything else kind of went down. The 3-point percentage is up a little bit, which is good to see on better volume. So that's something to keep an eye on going forward. And of course, you got this game 2 versus Golden State, where he had 38 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. You got to keep in the back of your mind. He shot 13 for 25 from the field and 8 of 18 from beyond the arc. There's still flashes of him being a young stud, but it all depends on if Houston's ready to give up on him or not. And again, it's not as big of a deal if they give up on him now, because compared to 2 years ago when it was Jalen Green and he was their young star, now they got guys like Alpren, Sengun, and Thompson. And Sengun just proved himself to be a young NBA star, averaging 19.3 points per game, 10.3 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal and a block per game in the regular season. He did that on very efficient shooting, 50% from the field and 23% from 3 on 1.2 attempts per game, kind of drawing some comparisons to a baby Jokic. We'll see if that comes to fruition all the way and he gets like 4 MVPs, but I don't know if he's going to go that far. Versus Golden State, though, he averaged 21 and 12 with 5.3 assists per game, which was a fantastic playoff debut for the kid. 47% shooting from the field, 37% from 3 on 1 attempt per game. Now, he did get a little bit of a dose of Draymond Green in the post, which kind of lowered his efficiency, but still, it was a good playoff debut for Alpren Sengun and a lot of these Rockets, and he'll be 23 next year. Now, a guy that the Rockets consider untouchable is Thompson, and there's a good reason for this. Down the stretch this season, he proved to be one of the NBA's young up-and-coming stars. He's 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan and is one of the best defenders in this league, on top of maybe being a top 3 athlete in the NBA right now, which is extremely impressive to say. On the regular season, those were the numbers, about 2.7 stocks per game to go with 14 points a night and 8 rebounds. He did that on 56% shooting from the field. Now, the 3-point percentage, if we can still work and get that fixed to where it's good enough to be a spacer, because it was a semi-awkward fit this year with Fred VanVleet and Thompson. So if we can get that up enough for where he is a spacer and can knock down the 3 ball, then that's going to take him to a whole nother level. Versus Golden State, he averaged almost 16 points per game, 7 rebounds, 3.3 assists, and 2.6 stocks. And, right now, he is almost primarily an off-the-ball cutter and a transition scorer on offense. We got to get him to a 3-point shooter. However, watch the play right here. Jared Allen's going to go to help, and Thompson's just going to cut right beside him. His chin's going to be at the rim, and he's going to dunk it. Speaking of KD, there's a little dosage of Thompson. Everybody gets some. Cade Cunningham gets some right here. That's a great play coming over and help side and going up, straight up and down, not getting the foul. This is elite as well. Watch the anticipation. He's sitting down here in the corner as this action happens. Jalen Duren's going to slip this screen. Bogdanovich is going to flip it right to him, and Thompson's just going to step right in front and go the other way with it. Then Cade Cunningham in the torture chamber. We need a good nickname for he's an alien, but we already kind of have that nickname for Victor Wembanyama. We need a nickname for him and his twin brother, because they are incredibly athletic, great defensively. Both him and Azar are going to be anchors to top 10 defenses for years to come. But just imagine adding Kevin Durant to this team. You get to keep Jalen Green, you get to keep all your young pieces. Houston could be contending for an NBA championship if that move happens. With that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button, leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button. And Rockets fans, let me know, do you want to see it happen? And with that being said, thanks so much for watching today's video.